I'm not supposed to be alone with you. I know that your lips are sweet, but our lips must never meet. I belong to someone else, and I must be true. Go away, little girl. Go away, little girl. It's hurting me more each minute that you delay. When you are near me like this, you're much too hard to resist. So go away, little girl, before I beg you to stay. Go away. Please don't stay. It'll never work out when you are near me like this. You're much too hard to resist. So go away, little girl. Call it a day, little girl. Oh, please go away, little girl, before I beg you to stay. Go away.
Go away, little girl, go away. Let's see, stop. Dee.
This weekend, something special is happening. You'll be able to discover a range of remarkable technologies in a range of award-winning Ford cars. Technologies like LED headlamps that help you see around corners, systems that help you park hands-free.
It's impossible, the strength that I can see. There's no way that I can let you go. Why did I mistake sex for another sense? Then why did someone else try to tell you no? I think you understand. Oh, that you've got it. I try hard.
Okay, for those that are watching, let me check this sound. Right, the sound's working good. For those that are watching, I'm actually going to install Linux Mint 17. Let me just double check. Linux Mint 17. And I'm installing it on a quad core computer, which basically has got 4 processors. And it's Linux Mint 17.1. It's a 32-bit operating system. I have burnt the ISO to a DVD, but you can burn it to a CD. Okay, so I'm going to go through the process here of installing it. And first of all, it has booted up the live CD. So it has now come to the welcome screen here, and we're going to select English and click continue. What I will do is I will try and get a better screensaver. I'll change the desktop background to something that will show up and sit out better. Right, so I'll skip that for a second for it's loading up off the live CD. The next thing it'll say here, preparing to install Linux Mint. You must have at least 8.5 gigabytes on your hard drive, and obviously it's connected to the internet. You don't have to have it connected to the internet when you're installing it, but it works out better because you can get the downloads at the same time. I'm going to click continue. Linux Mint 32-bit ISO. Now it'll say here, your computer has got 09 on it. What would you like to do? Install it alongside it or ease the disk. This will delete any files on the disk. Ease the disk and click install. Next thing it'll say about your partition. The following partition is going to be formatted. Partition 1. Continue. Then it'll say London from a time zone. Continue. You can change that if you're in the USA. Continue. And now I'm going to set it to login automatically. It'll ask me for a name. By putting a name in, you don't want to put too much information in there, because it broadcasts to the internet, the big world. And it'll ask me for a password, which I'm not going to call out. And it says it's strong. So if you type a password in, it's too weak, it'll tell you. Continue. And I'm going to try and change this desktop background. And we're going to go for something like maybe this. It'll sit out. I wonder about that one sit out. That's too dark. What about that one? Right, that sits out better. We'll just change the desktop background to make it sit out more. So let's go through the process of installing Linux Mint 1.7.1. It's a new version that Mint Linux has just basically pushed out. It just designed it. And you get a slideshow there when you're installing Linux on some of the distros to tell you exactly what it does and what's in it and all the crap out there. And why would you use Linux instead of Windows computers? Because Linux is more secure. You can't get a Windows virus on it because it's an open source code. And it's an open source platform. MacBooks used to be like that at one time, but there is viruses out for the Macs. There is a couple of Trojans out for the Linux kernels, basically the kernel files where they can hit them, but not a whole lot at the minute. And plus, I know how to use it and it works for me. You also get Firefox, Flash, Java, which is included in the software, multimedia content, and etc. Some people have installed it before and have had problems with their hard drives, or not their hard drives, they've had problems with their sound drives. And if they just take a wee bit of patience and do a wee bit of research, you can adjust it in the terminal, and there is ways around it. But hopefully this will work out of the box. This computer is a quad core computer it's getting installed on. 250 gig hard drive and 6 gigs of DDR3. To run Mint Linux, you can run it on, I'd recommend at least 2 gigs to run completely if you're running the full version. But if you're running the lighter version, you'll probably get away with about 1 gigabyte. It also comes with vaughntv and audio codecs that basically allow you to play videos, plugins for your MP3 players, for listening to podcasts, listening to your audio CDs, and Amazon MP3 Store, and Lost.fm, Internet Archive, and etc. You can change the desktop at any time you want by right clicking, which I'll show you later when I get it installed. It also comes with VLC player, Tottenham, and video codecs. You basically can insert a DVD and enjoy a movie, or watch high definition videos with the VLC player, which is the video LAN player that you can also use on a Windows computer. And Linux runs a lot faster than Windows. It boots up a lot faster. And you don't have to worry about running about trying to get an antivirus program, a security program, an anti-spyware program, this and that when you're running Linux. You can install Clam TK. You can also use the GEF firewall or an IP tables firewall, which comes in the package manager. You can also install a rootkit if you want, called Root Hunter, which also comes in the package manager, and quite a number of other programs. You can also install a screenshot. You can browse in vaughntv with it, and you can also use a program called Webcam Studio for showing your desktop if you're browsing or broadcasting, on vaughntv. You can also use a plugins in your browser, the same as you would in Windows. And if you don't want your browser giving information to sites that you go to, you can also use what they call user agent switches, which basically will bluff your browser headings and they won't be able to tell what computer you're on. So get your notebook out. You never know when you get a good tip from me. Well, some people don't even know that information. When you're going to a website, your browser can't tell that website that you're using Firefox. It can tell them that you're using Windows 8 or Windows 7. It can tell them what size of pixels you're using and a certain amount of information. So if you use a program for your browser, or a plugin, you can actually bluff it. You can tell them you're using a mobile phone even though you're using a web browser. And you can use a plugin called User Agent Overrider 0.2.4, which is User Agent Overrider, which basically will allow you to tell the website that you're using Chrome if you're using Firefox, and bluff it, and etc. So, and No website can actually block that because it is a plugin for your browser. It's not a proxy IP. So if you don't want to give out information to a server, you can use that plugin on your browser. And you can set it for mobile. So basically it'll say you're using a mobile even though you're using a desktop computer, and etc. You also get Steam and Linux Mint, Skype, Google Earth, and a lot of programs. You have actually 30,000 free applications that you can install from your software manager, which comes installed with it. So you can use Skype on Linux too. And you can also use the plugins on the Firefox browser as you would in a Windows computer. A lot of people don't like Linux for a number of reasons. Some of them just don't have the brains to use the terminal, and others don't like it because they find bugs in it. If you're running Linux on a server, you won't have to reboot it as often as you would with a Windows server. It does have its advantages. You also have a Wine program and also a VirtualBox that you can also install in Linux if you want to test out applications or run them in the VirtualBox. Wine is used to run Windows software, like games and stuff like that. Some work and some don't, but you do have Steam there. And it's copying the files at the moment. You can install a Linux operating system on your computer roughly, if your computer's going okay, roughly in about 30 minutes or less. You can update it in about 10 minutes, so it's quick and convenient. It's not as if you were reinstalling Windows from scratch. It would take you quite a long time by the time you get all your updates that Microsoft have out. Time you install all your software back on for your graphic drivers and all that crap, it would take you half a day probably to get it up and running again. Well, Linux, you can install it in about 30 to 40 minutes. If you don't like it, you can put another system on, or you can run it off a live CD. And you can change the background as a simple by right clicking on your desktop. The first thing you do with Linux, like any other system, when you install it, the first thing you want to do is update it to get all the latest updates for it. And then once you update it, you can restart your computer, which it recommends. And then basically what you would do then is put in a couple of small plugins that you can harden up if you wish, or you can load your browser and go ahead and enjoy the internet. And you basically update it by Update Manager, where you'll receive fixes and security updates all in one place for your entire system, including the software you install. This is my first time testing 1.7, but I have used Mint Linux over I would say near 10 years off and on. But they do bring out new operating systems all the time. Some of the Linuxes are long-term release. They just supply the updates for them, and some of them can go for 5 years before they actually bring out a new system. And some bring out new systems plus they would have what they call long-term releases at the same time. It's now receiving files 54 out of 60. So it's getting a few updates here because it's connected to the internet, and it's now scanning the CD-ROM, and there's some lovely backgrounds there, as you'll notice. You can change them by the click of a button. You do get the odd Linux that would be difficult when you're installing it, the like of Arch Linux and things like that, but once they get used to them, they're pretty straightforward. If you've never used one before, remember you're using a Linux distro. You do not download Windows programs. A lot of people make that mistake. A lot of people that are Windows computer users also panic. What about security? What about security? Because they're that well used to having firewalls on their Windows systems and etc. Well, don't panic, because you can put a couple of programs on, the plugins, which we'll talk about later. You can put a couple of hardening tools in, which will prevent SSH attacks, brute force attacks, and stuff like that. Just the click of a button. If you do suspect that someone is attacking you, there's a couple other plugins you can put in, and basically it'll send them to a fake server and freeze up their computer, which is all legal and above board. So there's quite a lot you can do with it. A lot of people don't like it because they just don't know how to use it, and they make excuses. I don't like Linux. I tried it before. It didn't work for me. Well, there's an old saying: if you use your brain and do a bit of research and understand it, you'll get there. It takes time. It takes patience. Microsoft actually love Linux, believe it or not, even though they don't use it as their main operating systems. But if you do a bit of research and type into Google, Microsoft loves Linux, you will see and understand what we're talking about. You could see Microsoft using different operating systems for mobile phones coming out in the future, and I believe that Linux could be a possibility of one of them. Okay, it says now the installation is complete. Continue testing or restart. Well, you want to basically restart. Click restart. You can't set it to automatically log in, or you can put a password on it, or you can encrypt your whole home folder, which is all free. So it's now going through the processes of going to restart. What you see in front of you is a television, a 50-inch TV, and it also has a VGA cable with it on a high definition. I can use the monitor in high definition off the computer, or the VGA, which gives me plenty of room, and it's great when you're watching movies. You also can use Netflix and Linux too. I'm just taking the disc out here, and then you normally hit the enter key on your keyboard, and hopefully it'll start up. TV's going to go into standby, so I'll hit the key. Let this go out. So hopefully it'll fire up. And here we have the logo screen coming up. You also can install a program called Preload, Preload. Preload. And it'll save all your cache and etc. Something similar to a Ready Boost in a Windows operating computer, where you can use it as virtual memory. It'll save the cache, and your computer will get faster as you open the programs and close them. On the right hand corner you will have the date, which is Sunday 11th of January, and the time, UK time, which is 13:41 hours. You'll also see your speaker icon, and you'll see your Linux distro. Now we're going to change the desktop by left clicking, go to change the desktop, right click. You will be presented with a number of wallpapers in front of you when they load up. You'll also get what they call a welcome screen here, where you've got new features, important guide, restore data, hardware database, tutorials, and donations, get involved, sponsors. You don't want that coming up, just don't tick the box and it won't show it when you reboot it. I'm going to close that. Go to the menu button here, and you do have a number of programs. You also can change that by right clicking and edit menu. And when you go to the menu button there, you can change a lot of things. I just want to get a wallpaper here. If you like blue like that, you can set it that colour. So there's quite a number of different wallpapers here. You can take your pick. There's another one there which is pretty nice. We'll keep that one. I'm going to close there. So the next thing we want to do is update it. Go to Control Center, something similar to Control Panel in Windows 7 or Windows XP. On the left it says Personal, Internet Security, Internet Network, Hardware and System. And the first thing I want to do is go to Personal and click on Screensaver. Activate the screensaver when the computer is idle, or lock the screensaver when the computer is active. If you don't want them, you can untick them. Just click a button on them and change the restart the computer is idle after 5 minutes. Change it to 2 hours if you're doing something, otherwise it'll give you a headache. So that's that done. The next thing I want to do is go to System here in the Control Panel, Control Center, and here you will see Update Manager, so you'll double click it. So long did that take me to install that operating system? I reckon about 20 minutes altogether. So first of all, you're going to get the updates. Just click Install Updates. It'll ask you for your password. It's very important on Linux that you make a good password. So just typed in the password, and it's now going downloading the packages here, so just open that up. And this is what you call the Linux terminal it installs them through. Okay, installed one update. It's now saying that I have 43 recommended updates available. So I'm going to click Install. And it'll ask for the password again. Some Linuxes don't, they only ask for it a few times, others ask for it pretty regular, which is not a bad thing. Okay, so it's downloading the updates there. Shouldn't take it that long. Install all the updates that you can get on your Linux distro. I would recommend for beginners Ubuntu, Linux Mint, Zorn Linux. And then when you get the hang of it, you can move on to like a Fedora, OpenSUSE, Arch. There's quite a lot of distros out now. so you have a good choice. You can also use PC Linux OS, but for beginners I'd recommend Ubuntu or Mint Linux. So it's downloading all the packages. It's even updating the Firefox browser. You can also use Google Chrome browser on it, Opera. And it also uses Thunderbird for your email client. So now I'm going to open up the terminal here, and you will see it's going through the processes in the terminal of installing all the packages once downloaded, all the updates. And that's basically the way your terminal goes. Something similar to your command prompt in your Windows operating system or the terminal in the MacBook. You can also update packages by using a terminal manually. You can also use desktop sharing in Linux. You also have a network proxy if you want to use it. An onboard keyboard for your screen keyboard input method, and accessibility technologies like a magnifying glass or speech if you're hard of hearing and things like that. File manager. So the way that's updating, the control panel here is pretty straightforward. Services, driver manager, time and date. It'll also work on a wireless network. You do have a Suntech package manager in Linux Mint, and also a software manager where you would install new applications if you required them. You can add printers, Bluetooth. So it's going through the process of updating, installing all the software. Then when I reboot, the next thing I will do is go to the software manager and see if there's any packages I want to install, the like of applications that I need. And I will be installing what they call the extras, which gives you all the plugins for your MP3 players, your video plugins, your flash, and etc. With a click of a button. And also the beauty about Linux is you don't need to defragment Linux the way you would with a Windows computer, because the way it is designed, it will defragment itself. So that's another advantage you have over Windows computers. The whole secret about Linux is getting one that works for you, that you like, and sticking till you get used to it. Some people have tried a few distros and don't like them because certain applications don't work right for them, and they have to understand whenever Linux is released, sometimes they have bugs the way Windows has bugs. At the minute, Windows 8.1 has a lot of problems. Microsoft have a lot of problems at the minute with bugs. They're trying to sort them out. So all operating systems get them from time to time. Which a bug is basically a program error that crashes. A program error, an error in the programming, that basically causes a application or a particular thing you're doing to crash. That's called a bug. You also get LibreOffice with this here, which is a full office suite, something similar to Microsoft Word. In fact, I'd rather have it, to be honest. Okay, now it says that I've got two more here. And it tells me what these two are. Okay, we'll just take these, take a chance. And password. I get installed Linux on 20 computers in at least a couple of hours, no problem. Providing the computers are working properly. You can also run Linux with Windows and have the choice when you're booting up. But you need to watch your partition manager when you're taking it up, you can run into a problem. Okay, so I'm going to refresh this to see if there's any more updates. And then I'm going to restart it and install a couple of tools on it. When you go to your menu in the left hand corner, as you would on a Windows computer, if you click all applications, you get a list of all the applications you have. There's a program called BRASERO for creating and copying CDs and DVDs. vaughntv for playing music. You can also install a few others. You do have it in the Blocker, GIMP for an image editor, Firefox, Image Viewer, LibreOffice, and you can use more than one monitor on it. Right, so there's no more updates. Okay, so what I want to do now is basically restart. Go to the menu and click quit and click restart. So that's all the updates. That's how quick it was to install it and get the updates on the latest version, which is 1.7.1, I believe, Linux Mint. And I think they call it Rebecca or something like that. It's a new release that they brought out. Next thing I will do is check for drivers to see if I need any graphic drivers for it. If you're installing OpenSUSE or Fedora Linux, they normally detect your hardware for you and you don't have to worry about it. But Linux Mint, on some of them you have to basically do a driver checkup and always go for the one that's recommended. I can hear people in the background saying, Linux sucks, Linux sucks. Well, I don't think so. Okay, so that's the system booted up. It's updated. And the next thing I'm going to do here is go to the control center, open it up, and I'm going to check the driver manager. And Linux is free. You don't have to buy it. You don't have to use a patch on it. You don't have to crack it. You don't have to download it from BitTorrent. You don't have to hide. It's free. And it's all above board. Okay, I've loaded that up twice. Okay, so I've already got the drivers that I'm choosing. But it's saying here recommended. So let me click on one. Always go for the recommended one. And click apply changes. And hopefully that'll sort the graphics out. This computer does have a PSI graphics card on it. It also has a sound card on it called Creative Sound Blaster. And I'm just going to check the sound while we're here. Go to the sound icon, right click, go to sound parameters, and we're going to go to hardware. We're going to set it for the Sound Blaster card, which is an SB Audio 2ZS, and we're going to test the speakers.
Front, right, front, left.
So the speakers are working, and that's off the sound card called the SB Audio 2.ZS, which is a creative sound card. And you also check, that's for the microphone, and you do have sound effects that you can set by default. So go for the bark one.
Front, right, front, left.
How good's that now? That's coming to a sound card. So the sound works. Okay, so once they get the drivers installed, then I can go ahead, open up the software manager, and select once the drivers installed, one proper driver in use. So we'll close this down. Hold on, no, we'll open up the software manager first, and then we'll close that box down. And I have broadcasted on vaughntv over the years, and broadcasted on Blog TV, on Justin TV, with Linux distros, if you check out the YouTube videos. So you won't have a problem broadcasting. If anybody thinks I've lost the plot, I'm talking to myself, I'm not, I'm actually recording it at the same time. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the featured ones here. There's 45 packets of featured ones, and these are the featured ones. You've got VLC player, which is already installed. Any that is installed will have a green tick beside them. You have G partitioner, which is for editing your partitions on your hard drive. That's not installed. To install it, I'll double click, and then it'll give me some documentation about it, and I'll click install. And at the bottom, it's go through the process of installing. GIMP is already installed. Wine, I'll install wine, not wine you drink now. This is a capability layer for running a Windows application. So if I happen to need an application that I can't, or sorry, that I need to use, well then I would put that on. Skype, double click, and install Skype. So Skype works on Linux. Audacity, you can use it if you want for sounds and stuff like that there. And these are the ones that people recommend that would be used the most. You've got 3D kart racing games. You've got a program called Cheese, a tool to take pictures and videos from your webcam. I'll install that. You've got Dropbox. You've got Shutter, which is a feature-rich screenshot program. And this will let you take screenshots, send them up to Mark or wherever you want to send them to. You've got Warzone there for real-time strategy games, LibreOffice. There's something similar to OpenOffice for spreadsheets, presentations, word processor, all free, and it works. MiniTube, which is a YouTube client for watching videos, and click install. Some Linux distros will actually ask you for a donation for that particular program. Linux Mint gives it to you free. VirtualBox if I want it, a Steam Launcher, which is a game, a free video editor if I want it, record my desktop if I want to do podcasts and stuff like that, micro, there was one I was looking for here. Right, okay, so go back to the categories here. You have internet packages, sound and video. You have 3,825 internet packages, and in that there you would have chat programs, web browsers, anything to do with internet. You have sound and video packages 135. You have graphics 719, and these are all full programs, free. Under Office you've got 228, but they call them packages. They're all separate programs. The games, you have 1,255 different types of games. Accessories 1,891, and you've got system tools which range from brute force attack plugins. Linux also comes with loads and loads of hacker tools like password crackers and stuff like that. You've got fronts for different types of fronts for typing and stuff. You have 289 of them. You have science and education tools. You've got 1,446. And if you're into programming, you've got 3,148 packages. And they're all free. So I want to go to internet packages here first and have a quick check. Okay, so under internet packages here, if I scroll up, you've got BitTorrent clients, okay, if you want them. One called KTorrent, which is a BitTorrent client based on KD platform. You've got FrostWire, which is a truly free and open source peer-to-peer client. You've got a download manager called Kgate. You have an FTP client, which is an FTP grabber. When you open up the internet one, you will see you've got 35 chat programs. You've got web packages, which is web programs 3,319. You've got 445 email packages, full email programs. An example, email clients, you've got Thunderbird, you've got mail notification, you've got Gmail programs, you've got MUTT, M-U-T-T. These are a few different ones. I'm not going to read them all out. You've got Cone, which is a console news reader and emailer. Under the chat ones, you have Skype, XChat, MSN, which is an MSN messenger, and stuff like that. And it's free. Free and secure. You're not taking a chance by someone trying to crack a program by using what they call an assembly debugger, what they call reverse engineering. Which basically you can make a crack up by finding the timer for the trial software and by changing it and putting a new shortcut to desktop, you can get the program free. Some of them you can crack, depends on the encryption and stuff like that. So to save you all that bother, you've got the tools you need. Under graphics, if you're into Photoshop and stuff like that there, you've got a great one for called Blender, where you want to design what they call lower fronts or lower thirds. This one's a 3D sheet for modeling animation and stuff like that there. Example, if you wanted to design something for your broadcast, you could use Blender. Frank right under, Frank right left. Guys, I'm not watching the chat room at the minute because I'm concentrating on what I'm doing here. You've also got an ebook converter and library management. If you're into, you've got 7 packages for doing 3D animations. You've got 21 packages for drawing. Now, a package is a full program, okay? Photographic, you've got 23 packages, and 6 for publishing, 7 for scanning, and 35 viewer packages. Okay, so if you're into photographics or photos and stuff like that, you've got POSTR, poster, for uploading photos to Flickr. You've got F-Spot, which is a great program for keeping your photographs and personalising everything. Also, you can plug in your camera and transfer the photographs to it. Okay, so the next thing I want to do here is wait till that one's finished installing there. If you double click on it, it'll tell you it's 80% installed. The next thing I want to do is open up the Suntech Package Manager. Now, some Linuxes use an update manager, and some you have to update them by the Suntech Package Manager. So I'll open up the Suntech Package Manager, and I want to install a few plugins. A couple will tell you and a couple won't, because you don't tell everyone how you secure your computer completely. Otherwise they will try and find a way of getting access to it. That's just my personal opinion. Suntech Package Manager, because you all know we can go to the internet and download all them wee scrubby games and we can ping their escapes and have fun. So we all know about them, including me. And we all know how to crack software, or some of us do. There's a whole lot of ways of cracking software, but it's also called stealing. Okay, so Suntech Package Manager, on the majority of Linuxes, you can do this in the terminal. Okay, so there's a couple of plugins that I want to get to protect myself on the internet. One of them is SSH GUARD. Okay, and I'll tell you what it is. It's SSH guard. Okay, so I'll mark it for installation. Now, this particular plugin that I'm putting on, I call it the plugin. Okay, it'll protect me against brute force, or protects my network on hosts from today's widespread, what they call a brute force attack. Okay, against an SSH server. It detects such attacks and blocks the author's address with a firewall rule. Okay, so this particular one that I'm installing will protect me against brute force attacks. Alright. Another one I will install will call, even though I know that you can't get a virus with Linux, Linux does supply you with different antivirus programs. You can use one in the terminal for checking your email client, or we can go for CLIMTK, Client TK. Now, oh, let me install it. Hold on. Right. This Client TK is it uses what they call a Perl language. Okay, it's basically an antivirus program. Though Linux says you don't need them. Next thing I will install will be a rootkit. There again, they say you don't get rootkits, but there is a couple out I know of. Okay, so I go for what they call rootkit hunter, or I can use another one. I also can use a plugin called Unhide, which is a forensic tool to find processes hidden by rootkits, which I also install, but beginners wouldn't know anything about that. Also another one called Forensic Tool to find hidden processes and ports from a rootkit. Which ones have opened I would install, because I find that them topics very interesting and interesting to learn. There's another one called a Mac Robber, which collects data about allocated files and mounted file systems. Them's the sort of programs that the like of the governments would use. So I have them highlighted. The next thing I want to make sure that we have a firewall. I can use quite a number of firewalls. I can use IP tables, which basically will filter the IP tables or ports that I have it set for. or block them if I desire. So I'm going to go for a simple one called GUFW. Because this computer will probably be set up for the grandkids. Now, GUFW is an easy way to manage your Linux firewall. Okay. Common tasks such as blocking, pre-configuring, or individual ports and others. The golden rule is in Linux, block all coming in, let everything out. That's another golden rule for Windows. Okay, so if you're using a firewall or a Windows firewall, let all out and block all coming in. You can still browse the internet. You can still do what you want to do. So the next one I want to install is called hardening. No, there's one called deny host. This is just the way I would do it. I don't think they have Mint does deny host. No. Okay, so I'm going to go for what they call hardening. I'm going to harden the system. Okay, I'm a great believer in hardening Linux systems. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to go for here is I'm going to harden the environment and things like that on Linux. I'm also going to harden the system by using a network intrusion detection system. And I'm also going to use the hardening docs and hardening tools. I'm also going to put one in called hardening clients, which will avoid clients that are known to be insecure. You can use this on your server, and I'm basically going to be removing what they call the Telnet, okay, on Linux, which will make it more secure for me. You can install a tool called Client Services or Services Automatically, and what it basically is, if you're running a server, this package will help you basically for network surveillance, okay, and it'll monitor the process of networks and stuff like that. Hardening development is a package that helps you to create and install tools that can be useful in order to create better programs. Okay, so you can install it, but you want to learn how to use it next time. And I want to install that one. Hardening robbers, which is duplicates, I will install. A lot of people not know what I'm talking about. They'll think I'm talking about copy apples, but I'm not. Also hardening remote. Okay, these are a few hardening tools that will harden the Linux system. The next one I want is a plugin called Preload. Now, if I wanted to, I could install a honeypot on this Linux distro. And if I decided to use this distro for as a chat room sort of thing, log into my chat room on vaughntv, and I had a suspicion that a few idiots were using certain tools or snipper programs or pingers. Well, then I would pop into vaughntv with this particular plugin on the Linux I was using called the honeypot, and it'll spit out sweeties and say, come here, Pccareman's here, he's giving out free beer, come and get it. And as soon as your computer comes to get it, it spits your computer and sends it to Disneyland, and your computer freezes up. If I thought someone was at their work, I would use that to defend myself. Okay, so keep that in mind if you're using programs, because other guys aren't really as stupid as what some people think they are. Preload, preload on a Linux distro. I cannot use what they call fake time, or I can basically use a tool called fake system data if I wanted to. Okay. And basically what it does, the program preloads a library files and fakes the system data, so the programs think that the wall clock is different than etc. So, but I decided to use preload, which preload monitors applications that the users run by analysing them and predicts what application users might run and fetches them quicker. Okay, it puts it into memory for faster startup times and stuff like that. So whenever you click on Firefox through time, it'll come up quicker and quicker and quicker. It's called preload. If you're using a Windows computer and you're finding that your computer doesn't have a lot of memory and you can't put any more and you can't afford it, use Ready Boost, which will save your application cache. Or you can use OpenDNS server and it'll do the same thing for you if you have your stats all set up. Right, so we've got preload. I'm trying to think if there's anything more here I need. Right, that's all I'm going to give out as far as they're concerned. There's a couple more I put on, but I'm not going to call them out over the air. Okay, so click apply whenever you decide to do all that. Click apply, and then click apply again. And all the plugins that I installed are like a snort rules, which is an IP table rule, firewall rule on Linux. It's now downloading all them packages, and I'm now going to configure snort. I can change it by putting a dash in, and it's now installing them all in the terminal. So basically that's me up and running. The next thing I want to do in this Linux is open up a Firefox browser, put in my plugins, ad blockers or do not track, a what advisory bar. You could also use a user agent where to block my browser and give me information out. Or I could also use a cookie destructor, which will destroy a cookie within seconds. What they call a text file cookie. And there's another one I can use for encrypting my data if I wanted to. So that's how quick it is, friends, to install Linux and get it up and running. And that's from myself, Pccareman. I just want to stop the broadcast for 2 seconds because I know that when I stop it, it'll be on the archives, and it makes it easier for me downloading it. So bear with me, I'll be straight back.